Blazers Uprise is on Discord, home to a thriving community of Blazer fans. You can join the uprising by clicking the Discord link in the description box below, which will bring you to the #1 place for our awesome community to hang out and chat. This offseason, we'll be hosting our 5th annual mock offseason, where 30 people come together, each running an NBA team through an entire offseason. All of this takes place in our Discord, where you can keep track of trades, free agent signings, and draft picks. And if you want to participate in our upcoming mock offseason, priority is given to the most active Discord members. So use that link below to sign up and join the conversation on Discord. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers today lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder 128-120 at home, behind an impressive game from Anthony Simons, an impressive game from Chris Murray. This was a game that the Blazers battled and made run after run, but couldn't get over the hump and couldn't take care of business against the Thunder. This was a free throw fest as well, 39 free throws for the OKC Thunder. So today we got to talk about Anthony Simons. We got to talk a little bit about Chris Murray. We got to talk about Ryan Rupert actually getting some freaking minutes, which is awesome because I didn't know if he was going to play with Thybulle back. And we also got to talk about the refs. I went to this game, that's why the stream's live a little bit late, so I got to see things up close and personal, including my GOAT, Eric, Chet Holmgren, who was phenomenal in the first half today. Anyway, Eric, how's it going, bro?
Not too bad. How was the game?
It was
your seats look pretty good.
Yeah, no, there were good seats. Atmosphere was pretty good in the fourth quarter, man. I was actually surprised. It was a pretty packed house. Lots of Thunder jerseys in the house. You know, it's kind of sad because the last Thunder game I went to was when the Blazers beat them in Game 2 in 2019, and how things have changed since then. I guess, a lot changes in 5 years, but, now that team looks phenomenal. It was cool seeing Jalen Williams in person, seeing Chet Holmgren in person. It was a fun game.
Now that they're good again, the Seattle fans are back to being Thunder fans.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I saw a Butler Gordon Hayward jersey, so I saw it all.
Nice.
Saw a Lakers D'Angelo Russell jersey as well. And the friend I was sitting next to, Franco Eric, he threw some popcorn at the Lakers jersey and apparently hit him. I wasn't there. I was getting food, but he was like 3 rows ahead of us and to the right. And apparently this dude was like at halftime lobbing popcorn at him because he was wearing a Lakers jersey. Oh, man. So, yeah, it was a fun night. And, no respect for the Laker fans at all. Ever. Did you Except for the cool ones in our chat.
Did you take any creepy Sean Highkin pictures? Or are you like...
What is this a reference to?
Sean Highkin taking pictures of people in jerseys at games.
Oh, yeah. No.
Without their knowledge? Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't like taking pictures of random people and then posting them on Twitter. It feels kind of weird. Yeah. But that's the thing. Nate J-Dub says, Tori, what section were you in? I was in 114. 114, sitting in the corner. But, yeah, man, I mean, this game was... There was themes to this game, I feel like. And Anthony Simons, I think I want to start off the stream with, because once again, he has a good game. And he was a little bit quiet in the first half, and then the second half erupted, got hot from 3, also had 2 back-to-back finishes that were absolutely insane. The left-hand inside scoop on the fast break, and then the little floater. And I thought when Ant could, like, get out in the open court or at least bring the ball up with some pace, he was able to get buckets. But, oh my goodness. As far as anybody criticizing Ant, we talk about this a lot, but watch how teams defend him. Teams would not defend him the way he gets defended if he wasn't legit. Because this dude is being guarded by Lu Dort, who's one of the better on-ball defenders in the league. Very strong, can move his feet, solid, smart defender, right? Despite Lu Dort being on Ant, they're still sending trap after trap after trap. They're sending double team after double team after double team. They were guarding Ant like the Blazers were guarding SGA. Now, some of that is because, the players around Ant, obviously, are not that good. But my goodness, the defensive attention. Dealing with Lu Dort at the point of attack, and then being trapped by Chet Holmgren, who's one of the best defensive bigs in the league this year, despite being a rookie, and still manages to pour in 29 points on 10 for 19 shooting, 5 for 10 from 3, gets to the line 4 times, makes all 4 of his free throws, had 5 assists, did have 4 turnovers. A couple of them came from being trapped at half court, right? Plays 40 minutes in this game, puts the team on his back, gets the team back in the game in the second half, and this is 3 straight good games from him after about 3 weeks or so where it felt like he was in a massive slump. So this is really good news and a really good sign to see Anthony Simons get back to playing the basketball, the high level of basketball that he was playing earlier this year.
Yeah, he's still trying to figure out like when to attack and when to just let the pressure open things up for other people. And it kind of is a game-to-game basis, so it's hard because some games, like tonight, Chris Murray steps up in the first half and scores some baskets. I think he ended up in double figures. There was a couple games ago in Memphis where all the guys we talk about needing to hit threes were hitting their threes. And, tonight he's got Grant and stuff as well. So it's still a process of learning how much he should accept the double team and the traps and let other people do all the work, or if he needs to still try and create off of those double teams and stuff like that. And I don't think it's going to be perfect for a long time, but I've liked the growth I've seen with him in just, 2/3 of a season. Like a lot of those, a lot of players take more than a season to learn. So I'm not thinking anything negative about it if he can't handle it. It's just how he grows from this point forward in my mind with that pressure.
Yeah, I mean, there was multiple times where he got the ball out of the trap and teammates failed him. Multiple times where I was really impressed with a pass that he made on the move, or a play that he made where, he doesn't get credited with an assist, but it was good playmaking, right? 5 assists, you'd argue, maybe he should have had more, but it takes teammates making plays, teammates making shots off those passes in order to get assists, right? So there's multiple times where it was like, man, that was a good pass, and the follow-up to that was somebody else not doing anything with it, not shooting the ball when they maybe should have, or turning the ball over. Jeremy Grant in this game had 6 turnovers. I guess he's a little rusty after coming back from missing a few games, but Jeremy Grant traveled like 3 times and just was a turnover machine. He can score the ball, but man, 6 turnovers in a game from Jeremy is pretty brutal. And I want to talk about him a little bit later, but there's multiple times in this game where I was impressed with Ant dealing with the pressure, and it felt like at times we weren't doing him any favors because we started to do what the Blazers did in the Pelican series with Dame, which is, our ball handler's getting trapped. Let's run a screen at half court so that he gets stuck double teamed at half court. Like, it was kind of weird. So really impressive second half from him. That runner he had where he jumped off his right foot and just floated through the air, that was an impressive shot. He has basically every runner/float shot in the book, it seems like. And it's just good to see him playing well because he's thrilling to watch, especially in person when he gets going. It's the closest thing that the Blazers have to Damian Lillard, right? That was the fun thing watching Dame. He'd get hot, and it would lift the Mo to center. Anthony Simons did that a little bit today in terms of just basically creating an atmosphere in that stadium that was a little bit dead during the first half. So just being there in person, watching that performance was fun. It's tough to find enjoyment out of Blazer games for the rest of the year, but Anthony Simons really got going, and the attention he draws is insane. And it just leaves me sitting here wishing that he had legitimate talent around him where he could give the ball up and guys would make plays. You know, there's just too many things where, you know, he gave up the ball to Chris Murray and he basically dropped it in front of the defender. He gave the ball up to Jabari Walker a couple times. One of the times it was a really good play where Matisse Thybulle cut baseline, Jabari Walker hit him on that baseline cut, and they got a layup out of it. That's how you beat a trap. But there's a couple times Jabari tries taking it to the rim and just shoots a BS layup that doesn't even hit rim, right? There's a couple of plays like that. So if Anthony has better players around him, teams can't guard him like that because better players would mean that defenses would pay for giving him that much attention. Unfortunately, right now, he doesn't have that luxury, but I do think he's doing a decent job considering the attention he's being given. He's being guarded by the best player every night. He's the number one guy on an opposing team's game plan every night, and he's being trapped like crazy. So, you know, the 14 assists, 34 points against Minnesota was super impressive. 10 for 19 shooting and 5 assists, 4 turnovers, 29 points against Lou Dort and Chet Holmgren trapping him all game. Also impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think moving forward, this is why it's so important to still find that star player, because if Scooter Sharp are those guys or one of those guys, that's great, because he just needs someone to help make it so either, like you said, teams will pay for doing that or they can't focus as much on Anthony. And you could also hope you hit on draft picks, or maybe you hit on a draft pick and Scoot and Sharp both turn into like Anthony level players, and then I think you really have something going on. But until they get someone in there, it's still going to be a game to game kind of feeling out for him, I think. But I'm really excited to see if you do what you couldn't do with Dame and pair him with some sort of forward that can handle the ball and take over and create and stuff. Like I don't think that duo would be guardable. And I think that's the luxury that someone like Tyrese Maxey has, where you know you don't have the pressure of the complete defensive game plans. And when you do, it means that Joel Embiid's out of the game and you're not as good anyway. So I can't wait to see what that's like. And I do still think it's funny going back to all the conversations where it's either Ant has to be the number one option on a playoff team or he's like a sixth man or whatever. Like, why can't he be the second or third best player on a good team? And I think if he is, I think that's a really good team.
When's the last time he got an open catch and shoot three?
I mean, he occasionally gets one, but they're almost all. Yeah,
it's probably less than 10% of his threes. It feels like he shot 10 threes today.
I'm sure we can find out the exact number.
I mean, I'll go look through all his threes today while we talk here, but so many of them are contested pull up off the dribble. Like, he shoots such tough threes, right? Mm-hmm. And people just look at percentages, but it's the same thing that we always said with Dave. Like, the threes that he takes, that he shoots efficiently, right? Because he's like a 38% three-point shooter. The volume of shots and the difficulty in which he has to take them makes his 38% really, really impressive, in my opinion. It's different than somebody just shooting completely wide open threes at 38%. Because that's part of the reason why he gets so much attention above the arc and off of pick and rolls. And that attention opens up things for other guys. It's just up to other players to convert the advantage that they have behind that. He doesn't get open catch and shoot threes. And he's a good catch and shoot guy. I feel like maybe when he does get open catch and shoot threes, he's regressed a little bit. But I think, if anything, that would be due to him not getting a bunch of them. I don't know what the percentage is, their stats, where I might be completely making that up. I'm not sure. But all his threes are off the dribble. He rarely gets catch and shoot threes. And that's why it's impressive every time he has a game where he's like 5 for 10 from three, because of how tough his threes are. You there? Hello?
All right, I was sneezing. Yeah. Yeah, obviously, that's probably a Scoot thing, right? If Scoot becomes the player we've all hoped he would be, or part of that, I think you can do a lot more things with Anthony off ball and take that pressure off of him. And then if they double Scoot, you have either someone crashing right down the middle if you get to give them to him on the roll. They either dive in for a basket, pass to a baseline cutter, or have Anthony spotting up for three to kick out to. And so yeah, I think that's where Scoot comes in, and that's why it's been so disappointing that Scoot's been out these last few games. Is really wanted to see those two just play as many minutes as possible the rest of this year. It sounds like Scoot could be back relatively soon, according to Chauncey. So hopefully that's sometime this weekend or early next week, because I really want to see them get reps together and work on using that pressure and defensive attention on Anthony to get Scoot going, and to also play Anthony off ball to get him more open shots, like you mentioned.
Yeah, because I'm going back looking through some of his shots. You know, he gets some catch and shoot opportunities on passes that are like swing passes. But how many times does he get a catch and shoot shot where somebody collapses the defense and kicks out to him and is able to draw his defender at all? Right? And it's like an inside out catch and shoot pass. Basically, all the catch and shoot shots he shoots is, unless it's a broken play, swing passes from the side where his defender isn't far off him and it's still a contested catch and shoot jumper, right? So that's the thing. The best catch and shoot jumpers are the ones where somebody could draw your defender into the paint, then kick out to you because you're already square, you're already lined up with the rim, right? And if that defender is drawn into the paint enough, then it's an open catch and shoot three. And Anthony Simons, throughout his career, has knocked down that shot at a very high level. The thing is he used to get a lot more of those shots playing next to Damian Lillard, playing next to other guys, and now it's all basically contested shots and tough threes. He rarely gets an open three, which, you know, that's part of the growth. Is he's become a guy that can hit tough threes, become a guy that can hit threes off the dribble, off pick and roll, and that sort of thing, right? That's a positive thing, but that's where I think, man, if he just had guys that could, A, take the pressure off him if he did get trapped, where he could give the ball to somebody and they'd go consistently get buckets, B, if he had good enough teammates, he probably wouldn't get trapped as much, so it'd be easier for him to score off the dribble, and then C, had guys that could collapse the defense, kick out to him, then it'd be much easier for him to have an efficient 29-point game. And I think that's the best version of Anthony Simons, is a guy that can play off others and a guy that can do stuff off the dribble. He just had that slump where, I mean, this is the type of defense he was seeing. It's nice to see him break out of it against the same defense that he was struggling against recently. It's nice to see him break out of it on a bevy of difficult shots that star caliber players make. It just leaves me wanting to put better players around him and have more talent around him to make things easier on him, because as you said with Scoot, man, I mean, that's hopefully the goal with Scoot. You need other guys around to space the floor so that the help can't just come from other places, but Scoot being able to put pressure on the rim, being able to get into the paint, being able to collapse the defense could be really good for Anthony Simons, being able to get some of the shots that he got earlier in his career. It doesn't get anymore because of the lineups on the floor with them. So that's the hope long-term with Scoot and Ant, is that duo can coexist offensively, because Ant, I think, could excel playing off Scoot. And then on the other hand, Scoot's become really good at catching the ball and attacking seams off the catch. And Anthony Simons, with the attention he draws, the way he shifts defense, will give Scoot Henderson those seams to catch and attack off of. So I'm looking forward to hopefully having Scoot back, obviously just to watch him develop, but I still think he and Anthony Simons can be a good fit next to each other offensively in the backcourt. They just got to get the opportunity to play next to each other.
Yeah. I just really hope, because Anthony now has had, I mean, who knows, the last couple of seasons there's been tanking stuff. But he's had some nagging injuries the last few years. Scoot now has 2 years of having different types of injuries. So hopefully at some point we can get those guys on the court for a long time. And that was one of the things they were showing in the game tonight was, well, when they actually showed stuff, there was at least 4 times we missed plays, including,
really?
there was, they were shooting a free throw and somehow got a 3-pointer, and I have no idea what happened. They didn't even show it or like a replay of it or anything. But on the broadcast, they were saying that their OKC was second to last in or second best in terms of healthiest in terms of rotation players this year. And that's just, I mean, obviously Portland's up near the top behind Memphis. But like, I don't know, I just want to see these guys healthy and be able to play on the court and grow on the court and not just sit here every stream hoping that at some point they can get on the floor together.
Yeah, 1,000%. So, I like how Ant's playing, man. It's good stuff. Jeremy Grant comes back today, plays 40 minutes. Plays 40 minutes.
That's good for his quad injury or whatever, right?
And also plays 40 minutes. And, dude, like, with the attention he's getting, I thought Ant had some really good defensive possessions as well, where he was competing. And there was a tweet that I saw during this game where it's like, Ant's checked out or something. It just drove me crazy. If you're watching this and that was your tweet, I'm sorry, but that's just not true. This dude is out there giving it his all offensively. He's been put in a tough position. But this dude was competing defensively. Now, there's a difference between competing defensively and playing good defense, right? Like, some guys can go out there and compete and play their ass off on defense and still play bad defense, right? So let's not get those two things confused. But there was a couple possessions where he was competitive defensively. There was a couple possessions where I thought he got ticky-tack BS calls called against him because he was guarding SGA, and SGA just gets a crazy whistle. I mean, my goodness, the refs in this game I thought were terrible. But, there was plays where he competed against SGA, didn't let him turn the corner, but SGA is a mid-range maestro and is hitting tough-ass shots that you literally can't defend any better if you're Anthony Simons. That's why SGA gets 30 points per game. That's why he's in conversations for MVP. There's certain guys in this league where you can play great defense and they're still going to get a bucket on you. So I thought defensively he had some good moments as well, which is all you could ask for when the dude is dealing with trap after trap after trap, and in 4 of the last 5 games has played at least 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you caught this one, Tori, but he was talking to SGA for quite a while after the game. But they both had their jerseys up like this, talking to each other. So he's going to be on the Thunder next year, apparently. So we'll see that spacing you were talking about with him and Chet and J-Dub.
Oh, man. I don't buy that. I don't buy that conspiracy theory. But that would actually... Hey, if they wanted to give us, like, 6 first-round picks, I'll take it,
Is that
That's
how many it would take?
I would probably do it for less. I don't know. I haven't thought about trading Ant for picks. It just hasn't crossed my radar. That's why I said an absurd number of 6. But Ant next to SGA with Jalen Williams and Chet, man, like that's cold. That's cold. They do have the 10th and 11th picks, so we could have like hopefully the first pick, the 10th pick, the 11th pick, and the 13th pick, right? That's what people want is like 6 picks in this draft. Isn't that what people were asking for? Oh wait, no, they
I thought it was the opposite.
Yeah, it was the opposite. You're right.
Yeah. Do they have 2 picks that high?
I do it on Takeathon all the time where I say like 11th is OKC, 10th is OKC.
I don't think they do. It might be the protections of one don't go to them anymore. But
okay, do you want to go to? Are you on Tankathon right now?
Yeah,
because in previous streams, there have been multiple sims. Yeah, the Utah pick is top 10 protected.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it goes to OKC. So Utah just lost and Atlanta just won, so Utah just passed Atlanta.
Right. That's what it was. That's what I was trying to figure out which team was, Yeah,
she had a little bit of movement tonight in terms of draft picks in that range. Yeah, Houston's 8, OKC's 9, Utah's 10, Atlanta's 11 now.
But we wouldn't want one of those teams to move up, so they're probably not getting that pick, right?
Who?
If it stays at 10, the Utah pick. We don't want one of the teams behind us to move up. We want it to be like last year where no one moves up behind us.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we ain't trading it to the Thunder anyway.
I know.
But, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Like, Ant could learn some things from SGA.
Yeah.
The way he gets to shots
Foul
from
baiting.
10 to 15 feet. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if Ant could get the whistle that SGA does, but unfortunately Ant just doesn't. I mean, he got bumped hard as hell by Lou Dort and threw up a floater, right? Didn't get the call, and then SGA comes down the other side, gets half the contact that Ant got, and it's a foul. Like, it's not consistent. The refs are a joke. They piss me off. But, Ant getting to the free throw line obviously would be great, but just the way his footwork, man. SGA's footwork is just absolutely insane, and the way he's able to get to shots from 10 to 15 feet and then knock them down with efficiency is so impressive. And it's part of why he's such a lethal scorer. Because if you overreact to his drives and like cut him off, he'll just basically spin to space or cross over and get to space and just pull up from 12, and he has a high set point, high release on the mid-range shot, and he catches it in. And it's like, Ant has had a lot of plays where he tries to go downhill, tries to get all the way to the rim, but ends up fading away from the rim and shooting up like some flip shot, right? And then the mid-range stuff he has is like that floater. And Ant, for his own right, is pretty crafty and good with his footwork at like getting to that floater. But I would love to see him add something where like he drives left, gets cut off, spins back to the right, and shoots like a 10-foot mid-range. Devin Booker has that in his bag. Like the best two-guard, combo guard, two-guard scorers in the league have that in their bag. Luka does it well. That's something that Ant could improve on in order to make defenses pay for like just cutting off his drives, turning and running with him. Because I feel like teams run him off the line and then they sprint with him and make it hard for him to get all the way to the rim. And I think he could do a little better job of being crafty in terms of countering that like SGA does.
Yeah. Although with Ant, you can't guard him the same way you guard SGA because he'll kill you from 3.
Yeah.
So he does have some advantages that he doesn't have. I'm not saying he's better than SGA by any stretch.
100%. But, I mean, that's the thing is just watching SGA and his footwork, it's like... The thing is he's bigger than Ant, but Ant can jump. So I think Ant can rise.
Yeah.
Above defenders from the mid-range. I would love for Ant to just watch SGA tape this summer and add some of that to his game.
We'll talk about Rupert in a little bit, but man, Rupert comes in and poor guy just gets foul baited like multiple times in a row by SGA.
The first foul was a great defensive play and it was a clean block.
The one where SGA fell to the ground?
Yeah, he got all ball.
Yeah, he maybe got a little bit of body, but
like you get all ball in that when the offensive players are going into him. That's not a foul. That was a horrible call. And then like I think his third, I forget exactly what happened on his third foul, but I remember thinking his third foul was absolute BS too. Yeah, kind of felt bad for Rupert, but it's a good opportunity for him to grow.
No, absolutely. But I'm in terms of SGA, I think the minute Rupert's on him, like he's like, I'm gonna bait him into a foul, because and he did twice in a row. And then he tried to the first time, but Rupert, he got by him, so he didn't foul him. But that was a tough spot for Rupert. But I will say, good on Chauncey. I mean, this is the obvious choice, I think. I don't want to hear any argument elsewhere, because it does not make sense to not give Rupert developmental minutes the rest of the season. Playing Thybulle over him, like, it doesn't make sense. So at least they play together tonight off the bench. But when we get guys back, those minutes should go to Rupert. I don't care how bad he's playing. Those, like you were mentioning when I brought it up, this is invaluable right now. He can take a game like this where he goes in and gets a couple quick fouls and then has to play kind of tentative and conservative the rest of the game. He can learn from that, and that's a good experience on what not to do. And a lot of his defensive, when he's trying to get in position in front of someone, he's leaning like way too far over into them, and he's got to adjust to not.
You know what he needs to do? Let me know if you disagree. I think he just needs to shade more to one side.
Right. Yeah, because he's trying to be like right in the middle.
Yeah, and it's you look at like the way Drew guards, Marcus Smart guards, Pat Bev guards. Normally they'll take away one hand where like if you try to go to that hand, they're already there, right? So they don't even have to move, and then they just battle you to your other hand and just work on staying in front of you going the other way that they're shading you, and they're able to actually get closer and kind of poke at the ball a little bit with Rupert's wingspan. It's impressive. The problem is Rupert tries to play directly square, and then if they go either way, you have to slide. So then he's just more reactionary to any little dribble move.
Well, he's got away with it his whole life, probably, because he's been so lengthy and quick. But, and Chauncey was telling him this during a free throw. He was trying to say, like, if you're up right in the middle and leaning into him, especially a guy like SGA, all he has to do is move his arms into you, and it's a foul. And so he was like, you need to be up in him, but your body needs to be, he kept saying like this. So like you should be able to stick out your hand. And then he made the like swipe through motion. He shouldn't hit you when he swipes through. You need to be far enough behind him. And those are the kind of things that that he needs to learn in the game. Like it's not something you can just learn by watching. Yeah. He needs to see what he's doing wrong on film and then work on it in practice and keep getting better. And I think that's why I want him to play.
Yeah, and like he's not going to get those same learning experiences in the G League or in practice. Mm-hmm. Okay, like you're going to get those learning experiences by playing the best foul baiters in the league, by playing against, SGA, playing against Trae Young, right? Playing against guys like that. And that's why NBA minutes are good for development. That's just one of the reasons why NBA reps will help them. I'm tired of the whole narrative that, like, players have to be, quote-unquote, NBA ready, which is already, like, what does that exactly mean? But players have to be NBA ready in order to play NBA minutes, in order to develop into being NBA ready. It, like, doesn't make any sense, right? Like, he will probably have a lot of games where he struggles, picks up fouls, right? Like, he has a lot to learn, but he's good enough to go out there and play and, like, not be completely destroyed mentally. He's good enough to go out there and play and like make something happen. Good enough to go out there and play and get like an impressive defensive stop. The problem is it's just going to be inconsistent at best as he continues to learn the ins and outs of the NBA game. But you learn the ins and outs of an NBA game by playing in NBA games. So playing Rupert is a great decision by Chauncey. 18 minutes? I was worried he wasn't going to play at all tonight.
Yeah.
I actually had a tweet over under half a minute for Rupert now that Thybulle is back and plays 18 minutes, so I'm happy with that.
And then Thybulle's first off the bench. Yeah.
Yeah, but like Thybulle plays 26 minutes, Rupert plays 18. Like, I'm happy with that because legitimately, like 2 games ago, it would have been, man, I expect Mania to play ahead of Rupert right now.
Right.
So.
And once again, this has nothing to do with Matisse Thybulle. He was really good tonight. And, like, I'm not saying he's worse than Rupert or whatever, but does anyone not know what Matisse Thybulle is? Is he doing anything on the court the rest of the season that raises his ceiling moving forward, or is he pretty much set the type. Like the only thing that can get better for Matisse, in my mind, is how his 3-point percentage fluctuates. Like it was good earlier in the season. If we can get that Matisse, that's great. If not, like he's a defensive specialist that is kind of a luxury player that we don't really need a luxury player right now. But the thing is, if you have a guy like Rupert, like why aren't you giving him all those minutes? Because you want to see what you have in him, and you want to see how much he can grow the rest of the season. So like I don't understand what the argument is on playing Thybulle. I mean, we lost the game. It's not like we won or something. And even if we had won, what good is that doing us right now? Like I'd rather win because our young players stepped up and had good games than because like Jeremy Grant and Matisse Thybulle took over and scored a bunch of points or something. So for me right now, I think Rupert should be getting minutes over Thybulle. But I mean, I understand it's not going to happen. I'm not going to, I'm not going to get mad about it or anything. But to me, Ryan Rupert should be playing all of Matisse's minutes, and it should be flip-flopped the way they are. And I know he got foul trouble tonight, so you can't really say he might have played more than 18 minutes had he not had those 2 quick fouls. But yeah, I want to see him develop, and I don't care how he plays or if he's ready or not. Like who the frick cares? We're 17 and 44 now. Ready? Like why does anyone care if he's ready or not? Like that it still makes no sense. The word ready.
Oh, it's crazy how the conversation about NBA reps for development has gotten twisted, and it's like it was to excuse keeping Malcolm Brogdon, right? And like it was to excuse Chauncey in games where he only plays Scoot like 17 minutes while Brogdon plays 36 while we lose by 12. You know, and it's just taken on this life of its own, this narrative about NBA reps for development that is just very, very baffling to me. And I'm just tired of it. It's like in rebuilding teams play young guys who are inconsistent or have growing pains all the time. It's never been something where a rebuilding team doesn't play young guys because they have to protect them, have to coddle them. And it's just become a crazy, crazy narrative that I'm kind of tired of dealing with and arguing with people. You gotta give guys minutes. You gotta let guys learn the NBA game by playing in NBA games. It's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm. Isaac 503 says Billups also said after the game he's the hardest worker on the team. Are you talking about? Is that Rupert? He said that about?
Yeah. Who are we talking about? It's funny because we have the guy saying in chat, basically talking about how SGA struggled against Thybulle, people were haters, blah, blah, I don't know. I just went back and watched every SGA shot. He was 3 for 5 against Thybulle when Thybulle started the possession on him. Like, there was a couple times Thybulle, like, didn't get through a screen. There was the play where he just let SGA go right past him and turned and looked at Ant, which was very weird. Like, there was multiple times where Thybulle did get beat today. He makes good defensive plays when he can get deflections, but he doesn't consistently stay in front of guys. There was a couple of fouls that he had where he just got downright beat by guys, whether it was backdoor, just not sliding his feet. He's okay defensively because he gets deflections, because he gets steals and whatnot. He's not some lockdown defender, though. It's kind of the same thing we dealt with Rocco. So, you know, it's there's a reason why I didn't want to match Thybulle before the season, and part of it was because I wanted to be able to get guys like Rupert developmental minutes over the course of the year, and it was obvious that Matisse Thybulle was going to block him. He can be a fringe rotation player on a good team, as he was in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, he's shooting exactly what he shot in his career in Philadelphia, right? It was nice to see him make some threes today. This was maybe the most complete game in terms of he had 3 assists with only 1 turnover, had a really nice in and out move, drive, right hand scoop finish, had 6 rebounds in 26 minutes. Like, this was a really good game from Thybulle. 16 points. He was actually, in my opinion, better offensively in this game than he was defensively, believe it or not. So, but that's the thing is he had occasional games like this last year when the Blazers were tanking, but we know what he is. He's a guy that's not really going to do much off the dribble, and he'll occasionally have a 3 for 4 night from 3 like he did tonight, but will shoot, 34% on his career, right? The shooting in 22 games last year looks like an outlier compared to the rest of his career. So we know what Thybulle is. The rest of the season is just time for guys to experiment, try and grow, try and get better at what they're weak at. I've talked about with Jeremy Grant becoming a better passer. We'll talk about his passing in a second. And as far as Rupert goes, NBA experience is great for him.
Yeah, so people confirmed in chat, thank you, that it was Rupert he was talking about. So that eliminates the only argument you could have had, in my opinion, against giving Rupert minutes, and that's if something was happening in practice to where he wasn't giving his all or was like really struggling or whatever. If he's the hardest worker, you reward him with minutes and it helps you develop him. Like, so I don't think there's any other argument if Billups is actually saying that.
Yeah, I told people he's a hard worker, right? We've heard it earlier.
Yeah, I
in
know,
the season.
but
yeah, it's
like some people were saying, you don't know, like maybe there's a reason why he's not getting minutes. Like Billups in practice, he's doing something wrong in practice, or he's not working as hard or whatever. Which that was just an argument, but now you can't even make that argument.
Well, that was only a question to people who didn't pay enough attention to what has been said about Rupert since he came to Portland. Everything that's been said about him is he's a hard worker in that he works his ass off. Yeah. And I'm not shocked at all that Chauncey said he's the hardest worker on the team. Like, the 2 hardest working players on the team, in my opinion, I don't know the work ethic of everyone. Just from what I've heard, Scoot, Rupert, okay? And I'm willing to give guys more benefit of the doubt if I know they're working their ass off to get better, right? Because I have more faith that when they go out there and struggle, they will work on what they've struggled at in NBA games to get better at it so that they don't struggle on it anymore. And that's the thing with Rupert, that's the thing with Scoot. That's why I've had so much patience with Scoot. I think in the end, his natural talent plus his work ethic wins out. As far as Rupert goes, that dude works his ass off. He has really good physical tools. He has a lot of potential, and he's come in, and you can tell that he's worked on his three-point shot. Go look at him shoot last year, Eric. His form looks actually quite a bit different. He had a lot more left-to-right movement when he brought the ball up. His elbow was more out at his set point. He flared his follow-through out to the right a bit. Now it's a lot more in line. He shoots pretty square. You can be in line and shoot with a tilt. A lot of great shooters do that. Dame does that. Steph does that. KD does that. But he's square, elbow in, follow through straighter. You can tell that he's worked on his shot just by looking at his form and comparing it to a year ago. So I love Rupert. I love that he got 18 minutes to play tonight. It wasn't the most efficient night, but he's going to learn when to pick his spots, and he's going to get more comfortable the more he plays. So I don't really care what he shoots. If he shoots 4 for 4 from 3, it's awesome. You know what I mean? Because we get to sit here and say, man, look at that dude shoot. But he's going to have some growing pains. That should be the expectation. But, he's further along than I thought he'd be right now, and his work ethic will take him a long way.
Yeah. So we got Matt Cardell saying, or maybe he just doesn't have good basketball IQ. There's a reason why he was so late in the draft.
That's BS. Well, you're just saying stuff. You're just yapping. Matt, no, Matt just, I don't want to talk about anything Matt says because he just sits there in chat and just yaps. It doesn't make any sense. He does not have bad basketball IQ. Like, why would you just randomly say that? What suggests that? Yeah. Nothing suggests that. You're just randomly saying that.
Yeah, the reason why he slipped in the draft was apparently once it got late in the first round, the Blazers were one of the few teams that were willing to guarantee he would sign an actual contract and not be possibly on a two-way. And so his agent was telling teams that he didn't want to be drafted by them if they weren't going to sign him to the regular roster, and so that scared a few teams off. But Timani was the 52nd pick. Does that mean he shouldn't have played this year or has a low basketball IQ or something? Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, that kind of annoys me. And then we got John Nash in chat who's just arguing against my YouTube title, the video I dropped earlier today, which if you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's on Ryan Rupert. I said Ryan Rupert is the Blazers' best kept secret, right? Because he's barely played all year, has a lot of potential, right? But it's a YouTube title. It's designed to make people click on it, okay? But it's not clickbait. He's a guy that people don't know and has barely played this year, and I believe has a lot of potential, has been flying under the radar. So that's why I say Ryan Rupert is the Blazers' best kept secret. We got this dude in the conversation in the chat right now, like, no, Duop Reath is. Okay, Duop Reath is also the Blazers' best kept secret. Like, it's not that literal, not that serious. It's a YouTube title. It's a YouTube title. Okay, like, please do not read too much into a YouTube title. Listen to what I say in the video. Like, it had nothing to do about Duop Reath. I wasn't comparing Rupert to Duop Reath at all. Duop Reath has gotten a lot of love nationally, actually. On Twitter, he's on rookie ladders. He's gotten some love.
And Reath's, 27?
Yeah.
And Ryan's 19. And Duop has experience playing. He played in the World Cup last year. Dude has more international experience, all that kind of stuff. He was more, he's not like a typical rookie. He's 27.
Yeah, but why are we arguing who's the best kept secret? Like, it's just silly. It's just silly. It's a YouTube title. Anyway. Chris Murray today. It's funny, I go to the game, and it's like, wow, Chris Murray and Matisse Thybulle were the only players able to do anything in the first half. It was kind of funny, actually. But Chris Murray today, 4 for 5, hits his only 3. Good to see him go 1 for 1 from 3. Had 6 fouls in 23 minutes. I mean, I think every one of Chris Murray's foul was a foul. I think maybe there was one ticky-tack call, but, there was the inbound play where he just hugs SGA right as the ball's handed to the inbounder. He's a solid defender, right? A lot of things about his game, people like Chris Murray because he's solid. But if you're going to be solid, you can't be fouling 6 times in 23 minutes. But he's a rookie, growing experience. Can't be fouling that much. Rupert can learn from that. Chris Murray can learn from that. You also had Jabari Walker with 6 fouls. I mean, the refs had a very... I don't know. The whistle for OKC was crazy. They shoot 39 free throws. The Blazers have 28 fouls. Blazers got no benefit of the doubt whatsoever. But Chris, 4 for 5, had some very impressive drives in the first half where, he's just driving slow but using his body. And that's the type of driver, if he's going to be somebody that drives, he's going to have to be. I don't have faith in his ability to, consistently get to the rim, because it's hard to drive the way he does and consistently put pressure on the rim. But it's more opportunistic, if that makes sense. When he has a seam, when defenders are shading him a little bit, he can use that and use his body in order to get shots off around the rim. And then he had a couple impressive finishes today. So that was good. At the end of the day, right, he has to be able to knock down that 3 in order to get defenders out on him enough for him with his methodical driving, right, his methodical slashing. He has to get defenders up on him in order to give himself a chance to get by. Thunder played up on him in this game a couple of times, and he was able to get to the rim. But, it got that 3-point shot is the key for him the rest of the year. I like the driving that he did today. I thought he had a couple good defensive moments. But at the end of the day, he has to knock down 3s. That is the biggest key for his game the rest of the year. So it was good to see him hit a 3 today, but it's, 1 for 1. We got to see him start shooting the ball better over the final 21 games of the season.
Yep, absolutely. Just like we talked about with him all year, just has to keep doing the things that a role player needs to do. And thought he did a pretty good job of that tonight, with the exception of the fouls, maybe a little too reach happy. But yeah, I thought he played pretty solid tonight.
Yep. Duop Reath 5 for 12, but 0 for 5 from 3. It's funny because last game he was hitting threes. Minnesota didn't really respect him. He's 5 for 6. And then tonight, OKC ran him off the line. Like, he was 5 for 7 inside the arc and gets to the free throw line 7 times because he was basically just getting run off the line, but he was doing a good job attacking it off the dribble, right? And that's where teams respect his shot so much. He has easy driving opportunities because of it. It kind of showcases what could hopefully be the case for Chris Murray if he can get that three-point shot to the point where Duop Reath's three-point shot is, because Duop Reath is given lanes to drive when he gets run off the line. He's taken them, and he was aggressive. Despite Chet being on him at times, he went at him, and that's what I like to see. A guy who's not just a stretch five, he's a guy that can make a play off the bounce for himself, get to the rim, finish, get to the free throw line. Because that makes him a much more lethal offensive threat. That's why I like Naz Reid, is because Naz Reid could not only knock down threes at a center spot, but if you ran him off the line, he could attack off the dribble, he could finish around the rim, he could slash, get to the rim, score. Duop Reath is becoming that. He's been impressive when run off the three-point line in the past month or two, and he seems to be getting better at it, so hopefully he keeps that up, because even on a night where he's 0 for 5 from 3, he still has a good game. 16 points on 12 shots, 5 for 12 from the field, gets the line. That's a good game. So most stretch fives, like Myers Leonard, right? If he was 0 for 5 from 3, it was automatically a terrible game. Like, there was no way he was going to have a good game if he was 0 for 5 from 3. But Duop Reath has more to his game than that, which is awesome.
Yeah, Duop's just solid. He's not ever gonna like wow you or anything, like physically or athletically, and he needs to do a better job when Ayton's out of rebounding. He had like 5 or 6 rebounds tonight. There was a couple times we got killed on the glass, and he's got to be able to hold his own a little bit more on that end. There was several possessions in a row where the only rebounds we got were like tipped out right to one of us. And that should never happen on the defensive end. You got to attack the glass a little better. And he's never really going to be a guy you can do many things with defensively. He's not a rim protector. He's not able to switch on the guards or anything like that. So it will be kind of a struggle scheme-wise if he's in the game, especially with the small guards on top of that, if everyone's healthy. But
well, what you need around him off the bench is just guys that don't get beat off the dribble, that don't put him in situations where he has to do a lot of rim protection. Guys that can kind of protect him, right? Like, we're so used to having such porous perimeter defense that it's like, we got to find a center to make the Dame and CJ pairing work, a center that is like elite defensively, a power forward that is elite defensively, so like the Dame and CJ pairing could work, so the Dame and Simons pairing could work, and we're still kind of in the same mode, like Scoot, Simons, Simons, Sharp, whatever the guard combo is, or if all three play together, we're still kind of in the mode like, okay, we gotta get a good power forward and good center defensively in order to make that work. But off the bench, you can have a little different makeup, and if you have some good defensive pieces off the bench, a Tamani Kamara, Ryan Rupert as he continues to develop and get better defensively, then you can actually have it flipped where you have good perimeter defenders, you're able to contain dribble penetration, and then that negates some of the defensive flaws that Duop Reath has, so that he can do his thing offensively, open up the court, and make the offense run a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
But go on, you were saying?
I think Duop's good. Like, seems like people like him and seems like a good person. So yeah, easy to root for. But he is an old rookie, so I don't know how much he is other than a role player at best.
Yeah. Any other players you wanted to get in depth on? Banton, 5 for 13, 29 minutes, 2 for 6 from 3, 5 assists, 5 boards, only 1 turnover. I mean, he was okay.
I like when Banton passes. Something that hasn't done a lot since he got here. But yeah, I kind of like to see him play make a little more if he doesn't get all the way to the rim.
Yeah.
But yeah, yep. I mean, he's been fine. I still don't see how we keep him unless we make a trade before the draft or before that decision has to be made on his contract before free agency. But so yeah, I'm trying not to like get too high or low on him because I think he's probably just a flyer to fill out a spot the rest of this season, and it's going to be hard to maintain it or keep him past this year.
I felt the same way about Moses Brown, though, and he's still here. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So, I don't know.
True.
Like, I don't know what their plan is in order to balance the books and duck the tax, but I do think there's a realistic chance that he's back next year. It's just tough to see exactly what the path forward is financially for this team. The other thing I want to talk about, Jeremy Grant. There was something I said we were going to talk about, Eric. You know what his problem is? I mean, I think we've talked about this before, so this is nothing groundbreaking. I just don't know if I've explained it this way on a post-game show before. But his passing on drives is as a last resort. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is he will start to collapse the defense where he has like an easy next pass or an easy extra pass to a wide open shooter or a kick out or something. But he always takes one dribble too many when he starts collapsing the defense, and then he gets into trouble, and that's when his passes get tipped, or that's when he travels. He had multiple turnovers today where he started collapsing the defense, and he took one dribble too many because his mindset is just score, 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 and then he got stuck, and then it's like, okay, now I have to pass. That's his problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's like, you see big point guards, and that's their, a lot of them, that's what makes them so unique, is that when you have that size and you collapse the defense like that, you should be able to make any pass from the middle of the key. And like you said, he just gets into bad positions sometimes.
Yeah, like he starts to collapse the defense, a second defender starts to run his way, and then he like spins right into them. You know what I mean? Because he's just like hell-bent on getting downhill to the rim, which I can respect his aggressiveness to score, but that's where, if he's going to play the rest of the season, that's something that needs to hopefully be coached out of him a little bit. That is somewhere where he can improve. I know he's not young. I know he's, in his prime and getting into his 30s now, but you can still improve at mental aspects of the game. Okay? Like, even as you decline physically, you can still get smarter. You can still read the floor a little bit better if you actually make that a point of emphasis. The problem is a lot of guys, once they get 28, 29, 30 in their prime, they're making a lot of money. The way that they've played is what's gotten them paid. The way that Jeremy Grant's played has gotten him the bag, right? The Blazers gave him the bag this past offseason. So a lot of times, like, they just think, okay, I just need to play the way I've been playing, right? That's why I'm a good player. That's why I'm being paid a boatload of money. But when you have a good coaching staff, you can get players like that to adjust their games a little bit, especially in a tanking year. That's what the MO needs to be for Jeremy Grant. Make these kick-out passes, make this next pass earlier on your drives. Read the defense. Don't just read your guy. He gets tunnel vision on his guy. Read the next guy. Read the help guy. Read the floor. And maybe he's just incapable. That could be the case, but challenge him to see if he could grow in that regard.
But that's what makes like Chauncey's comments earlier in the season so perplexing, is that he was saying the opposite, that Jeremy's just going to have to take a bunch of shots. And
yeah,
that's I don't know if that mindset has ever changed this season, Like, I understand they were trying to win earlier in the season or whatever, but now wins don't matter. So, like, why wouldn't it be more like what you're saying versus, oh, we need him to force 20 shots a game?
Absolutely. I don't have faith in this coaching staff to actually go out there and do that. I just think that's what would need to be done. Mm-hmm. There's a comment that says Grant's issue stems from the stagnant Chauncey Billups scheme. I mean, Grant isolates a lot, and Chauncey's system, I think it goes hand in hand. Like, Chauncey's offense gets more stagnant when Jeremy Grant plays. I think part of that is Jeremy Grant stops the ball. Part of that is Chauncey Billups just like feeds Jeremy Grant the ball and tells him to go one-on-one. Okay? So I don't think it's an either-or thing. I think it's both. But even when it's stagnant, Jeremy, like, he faces up, he'll take so long to make a move. He'll, like, face up, stare at the defense for 2 seconds, and then he'll put the ball on the floor. He should be able to read the defense before he ever puts the ball on the floor. Like, okay, the help guy's here, and he can think about this before he even goes. If I drive this way and he steps, then I'm kicking. Right? And if he doesn't step, then I'm going to hit that seam because there will be a seam there. And he just doesn't process the game like that, is the problem. Which, he's a good player. He could just be so much better if he knew when to kick out. If he could actually, like, turn his slashing ability, which is a high-level ability for him, into something where he's either getting to the rim, finishing, getting to the free throw line, or if the defense collapses, instead of turning the ball over, getting stuck, throwing up some wild BS shot, he's getting teammates open shots. Then he's a much more lethal player.
Yeah. Just never really been his game.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like he wasn't a shot creator for himself at this level until he got to Detroit. So we've seen him grow. He'd
been like a role player on every team he'd been on, so maybe it was just that. But getting a chance to be a number one option. But
yeah, I would just love for Chauncey to challenge him in that way. I don't think Chauncey.
Well, it should be challenging the whole team to do that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But it's just like, I'm just saying, I'm not an NBA coach for a reason, right? But if I was an NBA coach, this time of year, maybe a little bit before this, I would have gone around to each player on the team and said, here's what I want you to improve on the most between now and the end of the year. And that would have been the thing for Jeremy Grant. And make something a point of emphasis, especially for, guys like Grant, because these young guys are learning a lot. They're struggling with multiple things because they're young, they're still developing, right? So they got a lot of things to focus on. With guys that are a little bit more refined as players, it makes even more sense to go to them and be like, okay, this specific thing, I want you to focus on this specific thing the rest of the year, getting better at this. And every time you make a mistake, I'm going to point it out to you. We're going to call out every single time that you make a mistake on this in film, because if you get better in this area, it'll make you a better player. That's what I think Chauncey should do, but who knows?
Yeah, but it's also tough when you're trying to teach guys to be aggressive and become scorers and stuff, to think about passing before you do that sometimes. And,
I mean, it's not even thinking about passing. It's just like, okay, well, this is the help side defender. This is the read I'm going to have to make.
Yeah. Well, I watched, not to send DeAndre Ayton astray right now, but I watched a breakdown of his post-ups, and they were talking about how he always turns into the help. He doesn't recognize that the defense usually knows which way he's going to turn, because he turns into that mid-range jumper in the middle almost every time he posts up. So, like, he doesn't realize that he's like making it so easy by turning so often to that same spot. And so I think Jeremy gets caught in that too, where he dribbles to the same spots, gets caught in the same positions like he did multiple times this game, and travels or turns the ball over, and he's got to recognize that that's not the right play in that situation to try and force that shot or get to the rim, because it's just not there, especially when you got Chet standing there waiting to protect the rim.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's tankathon.
All right.
Let's tankathon.
While you're setting that up, Tori?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to point out, what did you say would happen with Malcolm Brogdon if we kept him past the trade deadline?
I don't remember.
You basically said he would play maybe a handful of games, and we'd shut him down, and he wouldn't play, so it would be completely pointless to have him on the team, right?
Sounds about right, yeah. It sounds like something I probably tweeted.
Yeah. So, he hasn't played a single game since the trade deadline, and it looks like, according to Chauncey at least, his elbow is getting worse, and it's not looking like a situation where he's gonna. I'd be surprised if he plays this season. So
here's the thing. Maybe it was a problem that would have gotten red flagged on physicals, and that's why they didn't trade him.
Yeah, possibly.
which it makes more sense that they didn't trade. But it's like everything we heard for like the 2 weeks leading up to the deadline was like they didn't want to trade him. They didn't want to trade him. And then they don't trade him. Like,
yeah,
I don't believe that's the sole reason why they kept him. Everything we heard was they will want to keep him. They value his vet mentorship, this and that. So,
unlike Grant and Thybulle, who weren't eligible till January 15th, which was 3 weeks before the trade line, a little over 3 weeks. Brogdon was eligible to be traded the minute we acquired him last summer. So
yeah, I wanted to flip him and Robert Williams. We probably would have been better off right now if we did that before the season.
Yeah, so they had all season when he was healthy and showing that he was productive again and that he wasn't injured to move him. So that also is an excuse, and actually makes it worse that they didn't want to trade him, in my opinion.
Yeah, for whatever reason, we're an injury-prone franchise, okay? I don't know. Voodoo magic, I'm not sure why we're so injury-prone as a franchise, but we are. It's been that way throughout the existence of our franchise. Bill Walton, Sam Bowie, Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, all the injuries in the past few years, we are very injury-prone as a franchise. When you combine an injury-prone franchise with injury-prone players, guess what? They're probably going to get injured. And it's just like clockwork. And there's no rhyme or reason to why the Blazers have such bad luck. It's just I can't shake that feeling. So going into a season where we're valuing Robert Williams as a backup center, we're paying Ayton a max contract and probably want to play him 35 minutes a game. So it's like, in order to play Robert Williams more than 13 minutes a game, we're going to have to play him next to Ayton, which is weird. And he's extremely injury prone as a big man. We don't have good luck with those. Just trade him before the season while he still has value instead of, I never want to say, I knew somebody was going to get hurt because you could never predict injuries. But if I ever knew a player was going to get hurt, it was Robert Williams going into the season. He gets hurt before he even plays 10 games. They should have freaking traded him. And same thing with Brogdon, man. He's healthy almost the majority of the season, and then they wait till the deadline. And, now there's a problem. And all we hear is they value his vet mentorship. And it's okay, so if this is a legitimate problem, is he going to have any trade value this summer? How much trade value does Robert Williams III and Malcolm Brogdon have this summer?
Are we back to having to attach the Golden State pick?
I mean, that's the thing. And especially if the Golden State pick rises, Eric, which we'll take a look at Tankathon. If it ends up 21, I mean...
That might not be enough.
the Dame trade looks much worse then.
Yeah.
You realize that. If Robert Williams III and Malcolm Brogdon have no value and they maybe have to dump one of them for less than proper value because... they're both hurt. You're talking about you flip Drew for the 21st pick in this draft and a 2029 Boston first, which is probably going to be in the 20s as well. That is not a good return for Drew Holiday at all.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's still unprotected, so.
But do you remember when I said when the Drew Holiday trade came through and literally everybody and their mother loved it. And I was sitting there saying I don't think it's bad, but there is some downside to this. And I got flamed for it.
Well, the downside was this situation here where both picks turn out to be bad, and those are still to be determined, so we don't know that yet. But that was, at the time, if Golden State was good this year, and if Boston is still good in 2029, and then if Robert Williams and Malcolm Brogdon are injured.
Yeah.
And 3 of those 4 will know this season what happened. But that's why if they capitalize on the value, it's a great trade, right? If they get a first for Malcolm this year, if they get a first for Robert Williams last offseason, then we already have that value in the bag and we don't have to worry about it. But now it's that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, Like, I expected at the time both the Golden State and Boston picks to be late first, right? And I like this, and I'm protected 2029 first, because who knows what could happen in 5 years. A lot can change in 5 years, as I said earlier. But it's Boston. They're really well ran. Like, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are still going to be in their prime in 5 years. So, and they're locked up on long-term deals. So, how is that pick going to be good? You know, like, it probably takes some massive amount of injuries for them. And Golden State this year, like, I expected them to be good. They sucked for the first half of the year. Now they look like a freaking contender. They beat the Bucks today by 35. After the Bucks beat, who the Bucks just beat where Dame went off?
Clippers.
I forget, the Clippers. The Bucks just beat the Clippers. Like, Golden State blows the doors off of them. Golden State looks like a contender right now. That pick, I expect to be in the 20s. So you're talking about, in my opinion, 2 late firsts and 2 injury-prone players that the Blazers ended up keeping. There's legitimate downside in that deal. And it's just funny how I got eviscerated by people for pointing that out. And it was, well, you just don't want to admit Joe Cronin did a great job. No, like, there's serious downside. This scenario.
But there was serious upside too. Like, I guess it still could be.
And I admitted that at the time. Yeah, but that's the thing is everybody's like, "Oh, this is absolutely amazing," and Joe Cronin is such a genius, and blah 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 blah. I mean, come on, man. Come on, like, there's more to the trade. Yeah, that was another one, Dro. I mean, the more to the trade is like, oh yeah, well maybe we get seconds for an injured player this offseason. So.
Yep. All right, let's do Tankathon.
Yep. The letter O, I don't care what that guy says. I would not put any stock into anything he says. Regarding anything, Eric. If you know, you know.
Wes said, yeah, but Brogdon's a mentor, lol. Yeah, we're basically paying him $22.5 million to be a coach right now.
Yeah. What does that say about our coaching staff? I don't know. But
we have 3 players that played in the NBA. One of them is probably a Hall of Famer this year, and Scott Brooks was a good point guard in the NBA for a long time, and Pooh Jeter had a cup of coffee in the NBA. There's 3 guys that played in the NBA that are on our coaching staff already.
Yeah.
That are point guards. I mean, Roy Rogers also played in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's a big man, but yeah.
Just silliness, man. Just overall silliness. Yeah, multi-gun. Exactly, bro. Exactly. Exactly. Let's do Tankathon before I get too in the weeds regarding the conversation in chat. We got the Blazers still 5th. 2.5 games behind Charlotte. Charlotte needs to win a freaking game. Is this updated? Let me make sure I refresh it. 2.5 behind Charlotte. The Golden State pick is 14th, right? Half a game behind the Lakers. Eric, Golden State is half a game out of the 8th seed in the West because Dallas sucks.
Yeah.
They are 2 games out of the 18th pick. They're 2 games out of 7th in the West. They are 2.5 games out of 6th in the West. That would give them the 21st pick. They're 2.5 games out of that. Okay? They are 3.5 games away from being the 23rd pick. So.
At least if they're in that range, probably get De'Ron Holmes.
At least in that range, we could get Jalen Tyson. You're right. You're right. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to be begging for Jalen Tyson at 22, and then we're going to take... who's, like, the most mid, like, 3-year college player you can think of? Putting you on the spot here.
I don't
know. Zach Edey.
Sure.
We're going to take Zach Edey at 22. Instead of, like, Chomchi, Avicic, Holmes, or Jalen Tyson, or, like, Keyshawn George, you know what I mean? The thing is even if it's 23, there's a clear, like, top 24, 25 to me before I start to really get bummed out by prospects. Like, right now on my big board, Johnny Furphy's 25th, but I need to watch him more. I need to see him play more. He didn't play, like, much the first half of the season for Kansas, right? But, like, you're looking at, like, he'll be available, or, like, Deron Holmes, Tyler Smith, Avicic, Chomchi. I like Jameer Watkins, Dylan Jones, right? Like, Jameer Watkins, like, Devin Carter are kind of the prospects that I have ranked in that range. And I have, like, Klingon below that. I have Bobby Klintman below that. If you're getting Klingon at 23, like, it's solid value. Like, it's good enough. Like, whatever. Bobby Klintman there as well. Like, I'm not tripping over that. So
it's better than that pick staying at 14 and taking one of those.
Yeah, exactly. So at that point, I mean, I guess we shouldn't trip too much about it being, like, 14 compared to maybe 20th. Because it's a crapshoot in that range, and there's a lot of prospects that I feel like are of comparable value that is just going to depend on what teams like. So, we'll see. Maybe this is just copium, as the kids would say. Eric, let's simulate this thing. At 14 is Portland via Golden State. This might be the last time we talk about this pick in a Tankathon sim. At 13 is New Orleans via the LA Lakers. At 12 is Chicago. 11 is Atlanta. 10 is Utah. They keep their pick because it's top 10. 9th is OKC via Houston. 8th is Houston via Brooklyn. 7th is the Memphis Grizzlies, which means the Toronto Raptors once again move into the top 4.
And we should be next if we didn't move up.
Yep, and at 6 is the Charlotte Hornets.
Ooh, nice.
And at 5 is the Detroit Pistons getting screwed again. They always get screwed, man. 5th. 9 and 52. They get the 5th pick. Let's see if the Blazers can get the number 1 pick. At 4 is the Toronto Raptors. At 3 is the Washington Wizards. Can we finally win a Tankathon sim with you and me on the same stream, Eric? At 2 is the San Antonio Spurs, which means the Portland Trail Blazers get the first pick in the NBA draft. Let's go. I got to play the Let's Go clip twice. We won a Tankathon sim together, Eric. Congratulations.
Let's go.
We get Nikola Topic.
We got Alex Sarr, and we are
wouldn't it be
set up.
Wouldn't it be nerve-wracking having the number 1 pick in this year's draft? It would be, like, super exciting and super good for content, but also, like, in last year's draft, it would be, oh, yay, we get Wemby. You know, everything's great. In this year's draft, like, how confident are you that they would take Alex Sarr with the number 1 pick?
If I didn't see Cronin and Schmitz at an Alex Sarr game a couple weeks ago, I would be really nervous about it, but they
were smiling too.
I cannot believe. I just cannot imagine that they'd be that dumb.
God, just like
take anyone else.
If they didn't take them, our reaction would be like there's reactions that we've had to stuff that is like kind of lore, Blazers Uprise lore at this point, right?
Yeah.
That would probably top it all.
Yeah, you probably hear rumors about us taking someone else.
Yes, but you remember Paulo Banchero?
Yeah.
Like, nobody thought it was going to be Banchero. That was shocking. So, I feel like with this front office, too, it could be the same way. Oh, man, that would be so much fun. And so much clickbait. I'm just kidding, not clickbait. Legitimate, interesting videos.
Man, how different would the NBA be right now if Orlando took Jabari Smith?
Oh, I know. Yeah, the Thunder would have taken Chet still.
Thunder take Chet still? Yeah, probably.
And then Man, I still wish Orlando took Chet. Chet with Jalen Suggs would have been a dream come true. And then if we traded Ant there for Franz Wagner, Orlando would have been my team of the East. But yeah, I mean, this draft, Sarr, Topic, I guess, for San Antonio because they only have one pick. And then Washington, I would assume, would take Ricochet, even though they don't really need more wings. Or Washington's a team I could see going for Dillingham there at 3.
Trevin asks, who's the realistic guy they'd take at number 1 over Sarr that you'd be the most mad about?
Ricochet.
I think I'd be mad about anyone.
Yeah.
Like, equally mad. But if it's a guard, like...
I don't think... I don't see any chance that... Like, what? It would be Topic,
what if they took Topic, yeah.
Oh, if they took Topic at 1, I would freaking lose my mind, bro. Oh, my God.
And they're all like, oh, well, now we have size in our backcourt, Tori.
Yeah, and our backcourt's in our front court, unfortunately. I mean, yeah, like I don't think Topic is realistic. If they took Topic, you would see me puke, you would see me throw stuff, you would see me retire.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is, are they so locked in with Ayton?
Dog, stop! No! No. I hate this.
That they would pass on Sarr.
Stop, please. We win the take-a-thon sim.
All right, we got Sarr. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Sarr goes
14,
1.
though.
I don't know. Sarr goes 1. Topic goes 2. Who goes 3 to Washington? Who do you think Washington takes? Let's just mock through the lottery quickly off the top of our heads.
Let's
just say who you... I don't know. 50% who you would take, 50% who you think they would take, and we'll alternate. Okay?
All right, so I'm Washington.
Yeah, like 50-50. Like, you're the assistant GM, you get 50% say, but their current GM gets 50% say as well.
Yeah, and they have a new front office. They trade up for Koulibaly last year. Mm-hmm. I'm putting Dillingham with Koulibaly, and that's my backcourt of the future.
Do you think there's a chance they do that?
I mean, yeah, there's a chance. He's really freaking good.
Okay, so we're going Koulibaly 3.
No, Dillingham.
Or, I mean, Dillingham 3.
Yeah.
Toronto at 4. I gotta pull up my big board. Toronto is a weird fit for Ricochet. I mean, they traded their forwards, though, and they could use a shooter. And I feel like Ricochet is a...
They got Grady Dick.
True. You know who is such a Ujiri pick, though? Buzelis. Doesn't Buzelis just scream Toronto?
Yeah, he might scream Toronto. I don't know if he screams Ujiri.
I mean, Ujiri loves his, 6'9", 6'10", ball-handling forwards.
Yeah, I would say Holland, then, is more of a...
I feel like Ricochet's a clean fit. Barnes can play the 3 or the 4. Ricochet has size. Grady Dick could maybe play the 2. I think they just go... I think Ricochet. I don't think I'd have a strong enough opinion to convince them otherwise. So Ricochet at 4. All right, who we got at 5 for Detroit then?
All right, I'm gonna need to bring something up.
Why don't I? I'll bring up the fanspo. Although then I have to set the order.
It's fine. I'll just go off my board.
I'll set it up.
This... I have a sneaky, really good fit for Detroit right now.
Yeah.
This is probably going to surprise you a little bit. But I think this guy would be really good considering they have Cade already, who can handle the ball and play point and stuff. I think I'm taking Reed Shepherd.
Reed Shepherd, okay. I see a lot of people have him like this high. I just know he's lower on your board, but also I do like Reed Shepherd in Detroit. I do like that as a fit. You know what's going to be fun about mocks this year too is it's much more fit based than in other years because the prospects I think are similar. So in terms of mocks and stuff like this, like I think fit comes into play even more. So I like that. I like that a lot. Toronto, Detroit, Charlotte. Okay, I'm just gonna set this up, and we'll just mock it through pick 14. Detroit, Charlotte, Memphis. This was Atlanta. This was Utah. 8 was Houston. Okay. 3, 6, 2024. Alright, I got this set up. We're good to go on this. Custom draft order set. Cool. Let me switch this back. Tankathon. Start playing the soundbite. Alright.
Right, who'd you end up taking for Toronto?
I'll run it back through.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna use that order. Verified draft order. Start draft. Okay, so we went SAR. We went Toppich. 3 Washington was Dillingham. 4 Toronto was Ricochet, and 5 Detroit you went Reed Shepherd. So 6 we got Charlotte. I'm deciding between 2 guys here for Charlotte. Actually, I'm deciding between 3 guys here for Charlotte, and it's Buzelis, it's Cody Williams, it's Holland. Which one's the best fit with LaMelo and Brandon Miller? Because Brandon Miller's your 3. Either way, you're going to have some size. I think if you're going to keep going with LaMelo, defensively he's rough. You got a big 3 that can kind of play perimeter or play like a 2-guard offensively. I actually think Ron Holland is a solid fit and can bring something to them defensively that they need on the wing and then have that offensive upside as well. So I'm going Ron Holland at 6 for Charlotte. 7 is Memphis, Eric.
All right, Memphis. I think this would come down to the 2 guys you just passed on.
Yeah.
And I think they'd just be too intrigued with Buzelis' upside, and they take him.
Buzelis 7 for Memphis. So 8 is Houston.
But I could definitely see what Reese said too. They take Cody and run.
Oh yeah, very possible. 8 is Houston. Cody doesn't really make sense in Houston.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, what he's gonna play? They're gonna play him in the G League all year. They got Cam Whitmore. They got Amen Thompson. They're paying Van Vliet a bag. They're paying Brooks a bag. Like, he makes sense.
That's
if
the
they,
part that doesn't make sense. Not Cody Williams.
I know. No, like he makes sense if they made sense. The problem is they make no sense. So because they make no sense, Cody, you know what I mean? Like, I'm only the assistant GM here. Okay, I don't approve of paying Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks the bag, but at this point, it's like, honestly,
I think we can make.
What's up?
I mean, they probably need a backup center, but other than that, I think you can make that argument for any position you pick right now.
True.
So I'm just taking best player, probably. Houston trades the pick for Betts, as JP said.
I feel like they could still be looking for like.
Oh yeah,
You know who I actually feel like they might take here, because I still think he needs a little bit more time, but long term, he can maybe be a guy that can play 3 positions and they can just figure out how he fits. Although he can't really shoot, I do think Castle would make some sense there. I also think Salon. I think Salon as like a raw upside play long term. They wouldn't have to play him right away. He still needs some development. I actually feel like they go Salon here at 8. So that's what I'm taking. Salon at 8. 9 is OKC.
I mean,
which is funny because
they are laughing to the bank right now. They're taking Cody Williams.
They pair Cody with J-Dub. They got the brothers together.
I think that's the biggest no-brainer ever.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. 10 Utah. They're in position to just swing for upside. And Keontae's been good at a point guard spot, can also play off the ball. I actually like Castle's fit with him, and I think Castle has some sneaky upside. I'm going to go stuff on Castle 10 to Utah. 11 is Atlanta.
You took Castle there?
Yeah, I took Castle.
Atlanta is just going to be... It'll be interesting to see what they do this summer in terms of Trae Young, DeJounte Murray.
They do have Buffkin if they trade Trae Young.
Yeah. Has Toppich been picked yet?
Yeah, he went 2.
All right.
Remember, we weren't doing the mock like this until now.
Yeah. I think this might be Connect.
Yeah. I do like Connect for them.
So yeah, go Connect.
Okay. So 12, Chicago. I mean, Levine they're just so freaking directionless, bro. They probably have Levine going into next year. They probably have DeMar. I mean, the GM is like Kobe White's broken out of a point guard spot. They're probably just looking for somebody NBA ready. But they got Vucevic. Like, who's somebody that could maybe be a long-term play that can also contribute to them right away? And I'm actually... You know who I'm thinking for them? I'm thinking Tyler Smith. Just in terms of, like, young guy, maybe has some upside, just doesn't really do much other than shoot, but could come in and play a role as, like, a stretch big right away. Patrick Williams has had injury trouble, right? I don't love the Tyler Smith pick here, but I feel like that is a Chicago Bulls type of pick. So I'm going Tyler Smith. All right, 13 is New Orleans, Eric.
New Orleans is ecstatic right now because, I mean, they still need their point guard of the future, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so they have Isaiah Collier fall into their lap and take him in about 3 seconds.
And that leaves us with Portland. With Fanspo consensus, his best player left on the board is Jacoby Walter, which doesn't really make sense for Portland. There is... Yeah. I think Portland here. I have a feeling they go Keyshawn George. They need shooting, especially at like a small forward spot. And they probably want upside, maybe a low level of ball handling. Like, Keyshawn George is like the opposite of Kamara, Jabari Walker, Chris Murray, in my opinion. Maybe not so much Chris Murray, but like, all those guys have been below average NBA three-point shooters this year. Keyshawn George, I think, is a legit 6'8". He's a sniper, and he can handle the ball. He can play make a little bit. So he provides them something different in long-term upside. Mm-hmm. I have a feeling that would be their pick.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
So that's our mock lottery draft. I just think with fit in stuff, depending on where teams draft, you could see somebody surprising fall. That's why this draft is so fascinating. Like, I could see Cody Williams fall to 9.
Well, someone also, like, almost has to.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, I mean, you could say Cody Williams 8 instead of Salon, right? You could say maybe Cody Williams over Reed Sheppard, but Reed Sheppard is such a great fit in Detroit, and Reed Sheppard has been getting, like, borderline top 5 buzz. I think out of the top 7 guys, the most likely candidates to, like, slip maybe are Dillingham and Salon, but I think teams would be overthinking it with Dillingham. I don't know. Like, he's so freaking good offensively. I don't think he's going to have any problem in the league. He is a pro bucket getter. And Washington needs a point guard. And if Topic is on the board, they probably just go with him. But if Topic is off the board, then it becomes very interesting, in my opinion, if they draft for need and go Dillingham, or if they just load up on another wing. Because they got Coulibaly, they got Avdia, who's been great. So that's the thing. The difference in order here could make a monumental difference. Mm-hmm. So draft lottery day is going to be very intriguing at the end of it.
Champ 77 that I like Missy here. Oh, we got Sarr. We got the first pick, though. So I mean, if he's the best player, I mean, take him, sure. But little less need for another center if we get number 1.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't looking at big men. Because you still have, like, at the end of the day, if you still have Robert Williams, you still have Duop Reath, you have Ayton, and then Sarr can play some center. Like, you know, you got an abundance at that position. And you're also set at the 4. You know what I mean? Like, you got Sarr. If they still have Grant and maybe play Grant at the 3, he can slide up to the 4. So then it makes sense to go with some shooting and go with some upside as a ball handler, and that's where Keyshawn George fits in.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm looking forward to this draft, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have another stream tomorrow, Blazers Uprise Live on our second channel. Link in the description box below for that so you don't miss picks against the spread, which is always a ton of fun, except on Monday because I did terribly. So check that out, and then we'll have another post-game stream on Friday as the Blazers take on the Houston Rockets. They play Houston on Friday. That's a home game. They just started a 6-game homestand, so they got 5 home games in a row. So they play Houston at home on Friday. They play Toronto at home on Saturday, and then the Celtics at home on Monday. There's 17 games in this month, Eric. It's just a freaking jam-packed month. I got my whiteboard, my monthly calendar up, and I fill in all the games. That's why I always look up here when I talk about schedule, and oh my goodness, it's a grind. It's going to be a grind for March, man. So,
for sure.
At least it's closer to the end of the season because I'm ready to start doing off-season stuff. I'm already planning like my player review videos. Going to be doing them a little bit differently this year. I think they're going to be good and entertaining.
Nice. Yeah, it's always kind of boring after the trade deadline till the end of the year when you can't make transactions and things like that. So. Definitely more fun once we ramp into the lottery and the draft and trades become available again and things like that.
Yeah. We got Daniel Schomburg. What's up, Daniel? That's a funny comment. Yeah, it's looking forward to the lottery. I'll try and do daily uploads again, but it might just be Monday through Friday. It might just be like 5 days a week. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna hold myself to daily uploads because that wears me out. But I'm already ahead on the draft graphics, Eric. I'll just say that. I'm actually ahead on stuff right now. So hopefully we'll be able to hit the ground running once April rolls around here. And maybe we can finally reach 10,000 subs.
Yeah.
Because just been treading, not going anywhere, unfortunately.
Well, we appreciate everyone who has been watching these shows this year and sticking with us through the downtimes, and can only go up from here, right?
Yeah. So anyway, on your guys' way out of here, check out the Rupert video I dropped earlier today for some rapid fire thoughts on him, and let me know what you think of Rupert in the comment section of that video. Anyway, Eric, we're out of here. We will catch the people tomorrow on the second channel. Look forward to it. And the Blazers lose, but they compete. Anthony Simons, good game. The refs, a bad game from them. And SGA is a free throw merchant. But other than that, it was a fun game to go to. Fun, competitive battle. And I look forward to seeing what the Blazers can do on Friday against Houston. And hopefully Scoot Henderson coming back, because we need that man back and healthy. With that being said, we're out of here. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!